It's
Okay.
Director's report. Charlie.
Yes. Well, since you didn't meet in March, the council has met 4 times since your last meeting in February. They met on March 6th, March 20th, April 3rd, and April 17th. Just briefly what they did at each of those meetings. On March 6th, the council approved a $200,000 grant application to the U.S. EPA for the East Shore State Park to help fund the design of the Powell Street frontage upland area, which we are going to be doing in cooperation with the Park District. The council approved a resolution accepting a $748,000 Safe Routes to Schools grant from Caltrans, which will be used to improve pedestrian safety at the intersections of 43rd, 45th, and 47th Street with San Pablo Avenue. Yet another example of the city moving ahead with implementation before we have actually adopted our ped bike plan, which hopefully you will do tonight. On March 20th, the council held a study session on the draft pedestrian bicycle plan, which again is before you tonight for hopefully for approval. On the Emeryville, Berkeley, Oakland Transit, also known as EBOT study, the City Council approved a resolution authorizing staff to apply to Caltrans for a $250,000 urban transit planning studies grant to explore ways to improve local transportation in the East Bay, Central East Bay Green Corridor area, including West Oakland, Emeryville, and West Berkeley. The council approved the annual report on implementation of the general plan, which you had approved at your February meeting. They adopted the sustainable transportation plan, and they adopted an economic development strategy and implementation plan for the city, which was developed by the Economic Development and Housing Departments, and the Planning and Building Department will be instrumental in a number of the implementation measures for that strategy. On April 3rd, the council held a study session about developing a new city mission statement and decided to form a task force to explore that issue further. They also authorized the mayor to sign a letter to the state legislature requesting a change in existing legislation which to allow local passengers to ride Amtrak buses between Emeryville and San Francisco, which, as you may know, is currently precluded by state law, and that is called for in the general plan. And they approved a tree removal permit for the Parkside Apartment Project, formerly known as Paper Mill, for the street trees along Powell Street with conditions requiring the applicant to pay a replacement value fee. And then at their last meeting on April 17th, they discussed the draft preferred scenario that ABAG and MTC have developed for the Sustainable Community Strategy under SB 375. They also discussed the draft regional housing needs allocation that ABAG has released, and they will be finalizing their comments about those things at their next meeting on May 1st. And finally, on April 17th, and I'm sure of great interest to you all, is that they adopted new procedures for how they will go about making Planning Commission appointments. And I have put on the dais in front of each of you a copy of the staff report, the City Council staff report on that matter, so you can refer to that. In summary, all applicants, including incumbents seeking reappointment, will need to fill out an application and be interviewed by the City Council. This year, the application deadline will be May 21st. And depending on the number of applicants received, the council will either hold the interviews before the regular council meeting on June 5th, or they will pick a different date for a special meeting for those interviews. This year, this affects Commissioners Flores and Moss, assuming that you both wish to seek reappointment. Next year, it will be Commissioners Coomerly, Sherman, and Steinberg, and in 2014, it will be Commissioners Donaldson and Cardoza, and then, of course, we'll circle back to Commissioners Flores and Moss again and continuing on. They plan to make the appointments at the June 19th council meeting in time for the July Planning Commission meeting. So if you want to be reappointed, I suggest you get your applications in by May 21st. And someone will notify you about when the interviews are going to be held. The Center of Community Life, which you will be hearing a presentation on in just a few minutes, the school district has announced a new series of 7 community workshops extending through December to consider the schematic design for ECCL. There was one held last Thursday, April 19th, which unfortunately I think we all missed. But the next one will be on Saturday, May 12th, followed by Thursday, June 14th, and times and locations of those are to be determined. And finally, just wanted to let you know that last week I attended the annual National Planning Conference of the American Planning Association in Los Angeles, along with Associate Planner Diana Kina and Commissioner Moss. As always, there were lots of interesting tours and sessions. This one was particularly interesting to me because I grew up in Southern California, and a lot has changed since I left many years ago. And I also came to realize that I never actually really knew LA very well to begin with, so it was enlightening. There will be a full report in our April progress report, which you'll be receiving in a couple of weeks. Unless you have any questions for me, that concludes my report. And then I would like to turn it over to the Assistant City Attorney, who has an announcement to make. Okay.
Okay, Assistant City Attorney, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair Donaldson. So I'd like to share with the Commission that after 9 years here in Emeryville, I'll be leaving the service of the city and starting a new a job with a firm in Oakland. And this tonight will be my last Planning Commission meeting with you. And I'd like to thank you for my years of service here, which have been a real pleasure and have really, it's really been an honor to be able to serve with such a dedicated and caring group of individuals such as yourself. I mean, part of what makes this job really interesting is the projects that happen, and they all come through you. And the fact that you know, you've been faced with some challenges, and that I've been, you know, lucky enough to help guide you through those, has really helped me develop in my career, and I hope that I've been able to serve this body well. And I think it's really helped me advance to, you know, the next stage in my career. So, you know, while I'm looking forward to the next step in that career path, I certainly do it with a certain amount of regret as well, because this has been a great place to be for so long, and in part serving with all of you as well. So thank you.
Well, Michael, thank you so much for all of your service to the city, and you have always given us good, solid, steady, and clear advice, and I wish you all the best going forward.
If I can
Mike.
just, oh, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say good luck. It's been a pleasure working with you.
If I could just say a word on behalf of staff. I think I speak for the whole Planning and Building Department. You see Michael at the commission meetings, of course, and benefit from his advice here, but what you don't see is what goes on behind the scenes every day in the office. Michael reviews all the agendas and all the staff reports and all the resolutions and all the conditions of approval, and we have long and detailed discussions about lots of things, and I'm going to miss Michael's advice in the future.
Good news for you and sad news for us. We'll move on to the rest of the agenda here.